Hate Army General saying hate Army shit. Hate Army. If your name is Hate Army, cool. I can't wait to see what he looks like. Okay. Excuse me. So check this out. I don't want to talk about this at length, but I will briefly address it. A $3 tipper, anonymous tipper, I don't think they put their name on there, says the following. Okay? Phil, I'm wondering, before the stream started, has there been any noticeable decrease in trolling since you started mentioning money less on your streams? You still break here and there, which is understandable. This is a new thing for you. But the trolls seem to have let up a little since you started. Love the stream.
Ultimately, I don't think I would be able to never mention income because sadly, you know, that's kind of my thing. I'm a crowdfunding guy.
Right? How do I make a living? With crowdfunding income. Darkside Phil is a scammer and a pedophile, and he plays mobile games. So I have to remind you guys, hey guys, there's ways to contribute, right? Here's how you contribute. Here's what you get for it. Here's a goal we're trying to reach for a membership, etc. I have to mention these things. It's just part of the necessary evil of being someone like me who doesn't have any sponsorships, no partnerships, not running any major ad campaigns or anything like that, no product placements, no shilling. I have to mention that this is how I make a living. DSP leads a cult of children on the internet. Don't you see? Who else would watch that kind of content? It's a bunch of dumb children who follow DSP. And he's leading them like the Pied Piper. He's leading them into a life of degradation and debauchery. I'm not shitting you. This is all real. Okay? However, I've made a concerted effort to stop trying to be bothered by it, to stop mentioning it, and to essentially just roll with it for the last month and a half. This all started about a month and a half ago when there was so much crap, negative crap, being thrown my way on the internet. There was major YouTubers bringing me up in a negative light, and it was pissing me off, and I publicly requested to be interviewed. Okay? At that time, a bunch of drama queen idiots came out of the woodwork to try to say they wanted to interview me. Fuck them. I was never going to do that with them anyway. I know their game. A few legitimate YouTubers reached out to me, of which I am currently still in talks. There's been no definitive decision yet. As I told you guys, it was always going to be when I have time. I still don't have time. Look where we are. We're trying to wrap up these giant playthroughs, do my year-end series. So there just hasn't been any opportunity to really discuss it with anyone yet. Okay? But basically, as all that was going on, all right, you know, I got called out by a couple bigger YouTubers. In particular, one of the ones that I talked about was mo1st Critical, where he was like, oh, this guy, all this guy's about is money. Take a look at his stream. It's his whole shtick. All he mentions is he needs to raise this, he needs to raise that, he needs to buy this, he needs to buy that, yada, yada, yada. He's like, no one does that except him. You know, it's gross or whatever. And, you know, it is what it is. And when he said that, it hit home. Because here's the thing. For those of you who regularly are on my streams and are actual fans of my content, right? You know that that is not the end-all and be-all of who I am. You know that, right? You know that, I'm here to put out a different kind of product than most content creators. You know that I'm in a situation where, sadly, this is my income and sometimes things are tight. And when things start to feel tight, then I start to feel pressure. When I start to feel pressure, that's when I start to crack and I start mentioning income more. It's all a bad slippery slope, right? And admittedly, you know, for a few months there, it got real bad. When I was playing Scorn in particular, you know, I said dumb things I shouldn't have said because I was really upset and feeling pressure at the time financially, and it really hurt me that trolls came by and just trolled the fuck out of me that night, and it made me crack and made me say dumb things. That was very bad, you know. And basically when mo1st Critical called me out on it, I was like, so here's the thing. Now because he did that, okay, that's literally what the vast majority of newcomers to YouTube and the internet are going to think. Because he's one of the big time daily vloggers, daily news, you know, coverers. He's one of the guys. Millions of views every day on every video he puts out. So just someone who's on YouTube, oh, who's Darkside Phil. First thing I heard about him from mo1st Critical is that he's a scumbag who all he cares about is money. And all he talks about is money constantly. And again, if you attended my streams, you would know that's not the case. But that's the impression that gets put out on the internet. All right? Now, it's funny because I outright said, hey, if he wants to say stuff like that, maybe he should interview me. If he's one of these guys who's going to come out and make statements like that, perhaps he should interview me. To which he completely declined. Oh, I'm not going to do that. Of course not. He's the kind of guy on a daily basis, he'll just make quips about people to get a rise from his audience and then move on to the next topic. He's not someone who's looking to go in depth about anything. He's not anyone who really cares to go in depth. To him, I made the reference, I made the joke, I took the jab, we're done, we move on. Why is he going to interview me? He's not even known as an interviewer. But that's the point I'm trying to make on YouTube. There's so many people who want to make the quick joke at my expense, insult me, but don't know the real me. Don't know the truth behind the memes. The truth behind all the slander, the conspiracy, the nonsense thrown my way on a daily basis. They don't know. And so to them, just make the joke. Haha, who cares if it hurts them at their expense? Who cares, right? Why do you think some days I'm in situations where I feel so financially pressured I got to talk about money all day? Because people hate me because of bullshit like that. So Moist Critical, as much as I don't blame him for saying shit like that, okay? Sadly, I feel like he does have some lack of self-awareness, because imagine if someone just slandered him all day long, how would he feel, right? Especially if he was actually in a bad position where he wasn't making the money he's making, and now he's actually being concretely hurt when everyone name drops him in a negative light. I think if he saw from that perspective, he'd feel a little different. The thing is, he doesn't. He's at the top. So I used to be the same. When I used to be one of the top gaming YouTubers, I was the same. My shit doesn't stink. I talk shit about everyone. Who cares, right? So I'm not going to blame the guy. I'm not talking shit about him. He can do whatever he wants. But when he said that publicly and people called me out for, oh, did you hear what he said? That hurts. I'm like, I don't want everyone on the internet to think I'm just some guy who all day is talking about making money on my streams. That's the last thing I want. So I actively, in the last month and a half, tried to change that. And it's not always, but basically, a situation where I'm concerted effort to try to reduce the nonsense. And I hope you guys have seen that. And certainly I hope that you've, enjoyed the change in the last month and a half. I have. And the truth is, because the person here tipping is asking, have you seen a distinct decline in trolling? Here's what I've seen. I'm just focused on my stuff. And basically, there's really nothing coming over to my content anymore. If you haven't noticed, there's no big giant detractor meme shit anymore. If someone makes a video, I don't even know about it, nor do I give a fuck. I pay no attention. I'm just here to chill. And as long as I'm having fun, you guys are having fun, and we're enjoying the holidays together, and we're enjoying games together, and everything just goes hand in hand, then why am I going to stress out about anything out there? I'm certainly believe that there probably are people still on a daily basis saying horrible things about me. I don't care. I'm not going to let it bother me because that doesn't affect me. I have a dedicated audience here who love what I do and support me. Why the fuck would I care what some Joe Nobody says about me on the fucking internet? I don't, right? It's hilarious to me that I have a regular viewer base of a few hundred people on a stream, right? Maybe between a few hundred to 1,000 people every video. So not a lot. So let's be honest. I'm not huge on the internet. I don't even get 1 million views a month on my DSP gaming channel. I just don't. But I have more support from my audience than people who have 5 to 10 times as big of an audience. I do. And they have to make ends meet. They have to take the sponsorships. They have to shill. They have to do all that shit. And I don't have to do that. Because the people who are here like me for me, like my content for what it is. They understand how it's different. And that's why they support it. And I'm very grateful for that. Thank you for that. I'm doing my best now to change for the better and not be constantly mentioning the bullshit, the income. You don't need to know about that, right? Even if things are bad for me this week. What if things are tight and bills can't be paid or whatever? Do you need to fucking know that? Of course you don't. Only if there's like an emergency situation, like my car is breaking down and now I can't pay for it or something. That's a little different. That's like an extenuating circumstance. You don't need to know week to week what the hell's going on with this shit behind the scenes. It's none of your business regardless. Why am I making it your business? I'm happy Moist Critical called me out on it, because even though I do feel it's unfair because he doesn't want to hear the whole story and hear the true perspective of what's going on, at the same time, it's an awareness moment for me to say, okay, time to cut the bullshit. If there's mainstream people out there portraying me as this to the internet, I've got to make an active effort to stop, so that if people say that and they go see my content, they're like, well, what are they talking about? He's not doing that, right? So there you go. I got to do my best to improve. I've been trying. I'm not perfect. I definitely slip from time to time, but I hope that you've seen the difference. And yes, I feel like there's been less negativity towards the streams and me in general Again, I don't watch the negative outside shit. I'm just ignoring it. But for the most part, I do think that things have gotten better. Yes.